Hey guys, it's Miss Robinson. Welcome to day one of online instruction. Before we get started, I want to show you guys some information. This is especially for parents. Contact information. My email is at the top in blue, lori.robinson@bville.kyschools.us. In the black, you've got the remind code. If you just go to URL and type in this right here, if you're not already set up on Remind, it'll get you set up. The red is our Weebly page, which is very important because all of our assignments are going to be posted onto Weebly and all of our links to get to where you need to go. So that is Lori Robinson, bis.weebly.com. In green, you've got our iReady login, and all you do, if you need to log into iReady, you just type in login.i-ready.com. It'll take you right to it. And then in the purple, you've got pearsonrealize.com. So this is what we're going to use for math today. So if you have not already done so on your device, you need to go to pearsonrealize.com and log in. Before we get started on the math, if you have not already watched the two videos above this one is with Miss Baker and one is it looks like a computer screen. Miss Baker has went over all the vocabulary and the strategies you're going to be using during this unit, and then I have made it's kind of a walkthrough for Pearson Realize. So if you've not watched those two videos, you need to stop this video and go watch those now. Otherwise, we'll get started. I've got my date at the board on the top. It's 3/18/20, and our I can statement for today is I can use models to subtract tens. Now, students, can you say that with me? I can use models to subtract tens. Good. Okay. Before we start, I need to go over some materials. Now, the materials you're going to need for this lesson, you may not have at home, but I'm going to show you some materials you could use in place of those. So you're going to need mostly 10 rods. For this lesson. Now, this is a 10 rod. It is a place value block that has 10, but they're all connected. Our students are used to drawing those, so if you don't have any of these other materials, they could even draw them on their paper or a separate sheet of paper just so they're aware. One thing that you could use is spaghetti. So I took a piece of spaghetti and I broke it in half. And now I've got two 10 rods. So I know this is a 10 and this is a 10, and if I have them together, I would have 20. If you don't have spaghetti, pretzel sticks, pencils, crayons, anything that you can find that's straight so you guys have a visual representation of tens. For the solve and share, which you'll do on your computer screen, you will need ones. So a replacement for ones if you don't have anything, if you don't because I've got little cubes, so if you don't have cereal or something, you may even use some goldfish, so each goldfish would be one, and that way those kids can just have that visual representation that makes solving problems so much easier for them. Okay, so right now, what I want you guys to do is I want you to log on to Pearson Realize, and I'm going to kind of do it with you, a lot of work with me. When you log on to Pearson Realize, you have two buttons. You're going to have one with a pencil, and you're going to have one with binoculars. You're going to click on that pencil. That's going to take you to all your work that you need to do. For today, all you're going to click on is 11-1. Okay, so you click on that, and 4 assignments pop up. And it tells you the order it wants you to do it in. It'll tell you 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what button do you think we should start with, guys? You're exactly right. We're going to start with button 1, okay? We want to do this in order, so we're going to go to 1 first. And that's going to be your solve and share. So you guys are going to go work on that, and when you're done, you're going to come back, and I'm going to show you through the rest of the lesson, okay? Alright, so at this point, you've done your solve and share. So now we're going to go on, and I want you to do number 2 on your screen, which is the visual learning bridge. Now guys, we watch these in class and we talk about them. These are also the green boxes on your pages. So go ahead right now and watch your visual learning bridge, and then I'm going to talk about the boxes up at the top with you. Okay, so the first box with the little girl laying down says, you know how to subtract ones. So look at her. Her problem says 5 subtract 1 equals, and then you're supposed to tell what that equals. So if you have those 5 cubes at the top, and you put a mark through one of those cubes, you're left with how many cubes? That's right, 4. So just trace that 4. So that right there, we subtracted using our 1 blocks. Now over here, this one looks a little different. Instead of 1 blocks, we have, that's right guys, 10 rods. So with our 10 rods, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to think about it as groups of 10. So we're going to do 5 tens, subtract 1 10. And over here, when we had 5 subtract 1, we ended up with 4. So over here, 5 tens, subtract 1 10, we're going to have 4 tens. So 50 subtract 10 is 40. So if you start with your tens, if you have all your groups of 10, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've got my 5 groups of 10, and I'm going to take away 1 group of 10. I'm left with 4 groups of 10, which would be what number? If we count these by tens, what would we have? 10, 20, 30, and 40. Good job. Okay, moving on. If you will look at number 1 with me, I'm going to kind of walk you through it. So for number 1, it says, it gives you, first off, it gives you some blocks. It gives you some place value blocks, some 10 rods. So if you count those 10 rods, you're going to see that you have 7 groups of 10s. So I'm going to draw mine on my board real quick. So here are my 7 10s. Okay? Now it says 7 10s subtract 1 10 equals blank. So I have 7 10s and I need to get rid of 1. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 1 out or erase 1. And then you will see you have how many left? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 10s. So on that first line, right here, make sure you trace that. We're only talking about this first line right here, where it says blank 10s subtract blank 10 equal blank 10s. Okay? So just trace your 7, your 1, and your 6. On the bottom line, instead of talking about how many groups of 10 they have just put what that number would be. So you guys know if we have 7 10s, that number is 70. So down here at the bottom, instead of writing 7 10s, you're going to write 70, 70, subtract, well, 1 group of 10 would be 10, so you're going to write 10, and equals 60. So all they did to each 3 of those numbers was added a 0 at the end. Because when we're talking about groups of 10, every one of those is always going to have a 0 in its ones place. Now number 2 at the bottom, they have not given us anything to go on, so we're going to have to figure it out. So let's see, I want you to, right now, which you've got them in your sheet, so I want you to count your blocks while I draw them on my board. Okay, I ended up with 6 10s. If you had 6 10s, give me a thumb up in the air. If you had anything other than 6 10s, I need you to recount because there are 6. Alright, so we've started with 6 10s. And look at those, look at your picture. How many of those 10s are marked out? That's right, 2. So we're going to just put a little line through 2 of our 10s. And how many 10s are we left with? There's 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups, and 4 groups. Good job. So what we're going to do now is on our board, on our paper, we're going to fill that in. So remember this top row, we're talking about groups of 10. So the first one is how many we started with. because when we subtract, we always start with the bigger number. That's right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So put 6 tens first. And then we subtracted how many? We took 2 away. So 6 tens. Subtract 2 tens equals, how many do we have left? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 tens left. Do you see that first line? 6 subtract 2 equals 4. Alright, down in the bottom, instead of writing how many groups of 10 we have, we're going to write the number. If I had 6 tens, the number that's going to be is 60. I'm going to add a 0 behind it. And then, so if we started with 60, we're going to subtract 20. Good job. And that equals 40. Awesome. So 60 subtract 20 equals 40, or 6 tens subtract 2 tens equals 4 tens. Excellent job. Alright, boys and girls, here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to finish these problems on your own. Now, your parents are going to be like me. They're going to sit there and they're going to watch you, and they're going to make sure you're doing it right, but they're going to try to let you do this on your own, because this is your independent practice. So on this first page, on page 613, you're going to do problems 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? And then on the back of the page, you're going to do, on page 614, you're going to do problems 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now when you do all of these problems, I want your parents to take a picture of your work, and I want them to send it to me. Okay? Can you have them do that for me? Please? Alright. You've got one more thing to do for me, boys and girls. You all have done awesome today. After you do all of that work, and your parents have sent me a picture of your math work, you're going to do a quick check for me. So what you're going to do is, on that Pearson Realize website, you're going to go to the number 4. So when you click on it, you're going to click this little blue button that says Start. Okay? So once you start, it's going to give you a problem, and there's a little play button at the top. It'll read the question for you. So you press that play button, and you do that problem, and you just pick the correct answer choice. They're all multiple choice. You go through, there's 5 of them. Do all 5. When you get to the end, you're going to press Submit. I'll show you. Alright, at the bottom of your screen, there's this little gray button that says Submit. That's going to give it right to me, so I can see what you're working on, and I can see how you're doing and what we need to work on. Okay? Parents, if you need help with this lesson, or you need anything, feel free to contact me. Like I said, again, here's my contact information. In the blue is my email, lori.robinson@bville.kyschools.us. Remind, if you're not already set up. Facebook Messenger, if you've got me on there. I'll help in any way I can. I promise once we start doing these, it's going to get a lot easier. Thanks, guys.